What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Season 5, Episode 31 of Oz Media's Motivate Me 313 podcast. And today we have an interesting topic today. I feel like this is one that our community needed. And shout out to our guests who brought up this topic. And I was like, you know what? That's actually something we have not discussed yet. And it definitely revolves around our community. So today's topic is about breaking the doctor or failure mindset, career paths that actually win. And so shout out to our guest Zahra. If you want to go ahead and give her a round of applause. She's in the building today representing the Family Doc, the greatest family doctor area in the neighborhood. I believe they got locations in Hamtramck, Dearborn Heights, and I think there's one more location.
Allen Park.
Yes. There we go. So shout out to the Family Doc. Shout out to Zahra. Shout out to the topic. Next to Zahra, we got our sister Abirti back in the building, finishing her third Umrah of her life.
Yeah.
Third career Umrah, alhamdulillah.
Third visit.
So shout out to Abir back in the building. Of course, you got myself, Omar T, Yusuf T in the back on the ones and twos. Appreciate him for all that he does. And again, today's topic is all about breaking the doctors and failure mindset, career paths that actually win. How can you follow us? How can you watch us? We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Apple, and Spotify podcasts, all under Oz Media. You can find all those platforms on our website, ozmedia313.com. Shout out to the sponsors of the show: Juicebox, Holy Bowly, Wingfellas, Bait and Mocha, Chillbox, Malika Kebab, Hanley International Academy, The Family Doc, GE Preparatory Academy, and Royal Kebab. You already know who we're going to start off with, Yusuf T. Shout out to our good friends over there at The Family Doc, Dr. Ali, Dr. Shireen, everybody there. Shout out to The Family Doc. The Family Doc. Founded in 2021, the Family Doc Clinic and Urgent Care provides comprehensive primary and urgent care services with a patient-centered approach. Their competitive advantage lies in delivering high-quality, flexible care with same-day appointments and walk-in options. So if you twisted your ankle while playing basketball, go to the Family Doc. Your baby has got a cold and you have no scheduled appointment? Go to the Family Doc. With 3 locations in Dearborn Heights, Hamtramck, and Allen Park, the Family Doc team can take care of you anywhere and anytime. So make sure you stop by the Family Doc, where they strive to make healthcare seamless, stress-free, and accessible when patients require it the most. Okay, we are officially back. So first and foremost, we like our guests to always introduce themselves, tell us a little bit about yourself, anything that you would like to share. So Zahra, the mic, the camera, and everything is on you, Zahra. Anything you'd like to share for us, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm really excited. As we mentioned before, so I'm the office manager for the Family Doc in Hamtramck. I'm also a student. I'm graduating from nursing school this May. So
Congratulations, early
I'm
one.
so excited for it.
Yep, congratulations. We have a crowd here who likes to give rounds of applause, by the way.
Love it.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like for us to share, or like for you to share that you want the audience to know about you?
I'm Iraqi American. I was born here. My family's here, and we've been a part of Dearborn for a while, since like 2009 when we moved out here. Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome. So, Abir, it's been a while. How have you been? What's new with you? Anything going on and like to share? Or
Great. I just came back from Umrah, and I just went to a AI conference in San Diego as well, just right after through work, and we learned about bringing careers even in middle school. They're literally saying that it's too late to bring them the idea of different careers in high school, that we have to start when they're younger, because the fact that the issue that we do have right now that we're talking about today, literally. So I'm going to bring some of that insight as well. But shout out to Sultan Umrah Travels. They're a great company to go to if you need to go to Umrah.
all right, there we go. Free advertisement. Next time, make sure you call them beforehand and let them know.
Whoever wants to go to Umrah, I want the egg of motivating someone to go to Umrah.
Of course. So, like I said, today's topic, basically, it's about, how parents pressure their kids to be either like a doctor, lawyer, engineer, or even nurse. And we're here to say that there's other career paths. Like, it's great. I'm very happy for you if that's a career that you're deciding to pursue and that's something that you want to do. But at the same time, we as a community, I feel like need to differentiate with our career paths, because that's what strong communities do. You want to have somebody who's in the media field. You want to have somebody who's in the, like you said, the AI field, the construction field, so that you, like I said, you have a whole community. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to bring people to a table that can bring different, elements to the table, so that, you guys can work together to accomplish whatever goal that you have in front of you. So, starting off with, growing up, how many of us were told like the only respectable careers were doctor, lawyer, nurse, and engineer? And what does that messaging do to kids who don't fit that career path? As a teacher, I'm sure you've seen that meme that says, not all kids learn the same. Like, and they had a picture of like a monkey with like a bunch of other animals, and like, you can't teach a monkey to do what an elephant does, because a monkey is a monkey and the elephant is an elephant. So, kind of in relation to this, like telling a kid that they can pursue a specific career path and that is not their strengths. Like, what is that, as a parent, what does that do to the kid, who feels like that's not a career path they want to pursue?
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna give you a little pushback though, because I don't think nursing is in
Part of
that.
it?
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
think nursing's a part of it at all.
Yeah.
I feel like if anything, like, and I have firsthand experience with the when I started like university, I was going the bio route. I was like, I'm gonna become a doctor, and I really wanted that. And then I started working as a nurse aide in a hospital right by my house. It was just a quick drive. I wanted the extra money. I just, and I really fell in love with the career. And then when I brought it up to my parents, they were not happy at all. They're like, you have much more potential. Who's a nurse? Like, why would you ever do this? And that kind of why I brought up this conversation to you and why I wanted to talk about it, because I feel like it is really just doctor, lawyer, engineer. Like, you hear it so often. Even when I was growing up, I'd watch FouseyTube, and there's like, I remember this like clip, and it was just like, why aren't you a doctor, lawyer, engineer? And I think it really pressures children. It really also pigeonholes them, and they're like, okay, well, these are my only options. And what if they have like other abilities? What if they're great? Like, if your parents had told you you can only be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, this wouldn't be a thing. Oz Media, like, this is a great outlet. This is a great part of the community. And I think what ends up happening is when we tell people like doctor, lawyer, engineers, their actual abilities, what they're meant to do for this dunya is, it's kind of like secondhand. You end up wasting time, and time is the most valuable asset in society and human. Like, whether you're Muslim, Arab, whatever the case is, we all need more time. That's just the reality of the situation. And you'll end up being like me, who spent the first 2 years of college wasting my time just to figure out the career I actually really liked. And now I'm a senior graduating, and I had to send so much appeals to like my university, to the state of Michigan, asking for more financial aid.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I wasted all of like my time and my credits on a field that I didn't want, because my parents had told me, be a doctor. I knew I wanted medicine, but there's so many other outlets in a field that you like. But I was generalized into that one career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question. Did you get approved for financial aid?
I did.
That's
yes.
nice. That's nice.
Because I was on my last semester, and I was like, dude, please, like, it's on my last semester. I want to graduate, and I didn't want to take out loans just to finish it out. And it's like, I was right there. I could see like the light at the end of the tunnel. So it's so upsetting, because like in hindsight, I'm like, man, like if I didn't waste all my time, I could have graduated quicker. Like, I mean, I should have graduated last year, and then I'm a year behind, which is like, everything happens for a reason. I'm on my own time, like, at the end of the day. But it's still like, if I didn't have that in my mindset from middle school and high school of like, I like science, so I'm going to be a doctor. Yeah. Like, there's so many different ways you can like have an interest in a subject and have like a variety of careers. But I didn't know that, even though like, especially in this day and age, we all have access to social media, the internet, all this stuff. It's not like I couldn't have research, but I just always had it in my head, be a doctor, be a doctor, be a doctor.
Yeah. And that's coming from the parents. I bet. What are your thoughts on that situation?
It definitely shifts their focus from discovering their strengths to chasing approval, right? You want the approval of your parents. And, it comes from love. It comes from the idea of them wanting stability for you, because in their brain, that's all they know. Like, oh, if they ask who owns this house, usually a doctor, a lawyer, or, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like with me, it was a little different. I feel like I didn't really focus on my strengths in high school because I knew, like, I wasn't guaranteed to go to college. I know my parents wanted me to get married first. And then if my husband's okay with me going to college, it was like, that was the mentality at that time. So, fast forward, I get married right after high school, and then it didn't work out. So I started working at urgent care. I hated it. So I knew automatically, I was like, okay, thank God, like, I don't want to go anything in the medical field. Like,
It's
anything
not for
to
the
do with it. Listen, sick people are mean, and I get it. You know what I'm saying? So then I found a paraprofessional job, like, at a school. And my son at that time, he was starting to go to school as well. So it was nice. It fit me. And the thing is, my high school English teacher used to always tell me constantly, "You're gonna be a teacher." I'm like, "Yeah, right." "You're gonna do." I'm like, "Yeah, right." Like, that wasn't, like, even in my brain. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes adults do see the potential, but because you have the backlash from your family, or and we're gonna talk about that too soon. Like, who is the ones that are kind of
Responsible.
responsible. So we'll go into that later on. But then I got a Apple's grant, which they paid for my school at the time, where, if you go into education, and then from there, I've been working for 13 years in education, and, like, you see what you like, and I wouldn't change it for the world. And now, inshallah, hopefully I'll be going towards administration.
Wow,
So
that's amazing.
I feel like sometimes you have to be immersed into it, because you said you started working, right? And you loved it, and you were able to find your path. So
Yeah.
And so, like, going off of that, like, who do you think is responsible really for this pressure that comes with trying to decide what career you want to choose? Does it come from parents, the culture, the school systems, or is it all three?
To be honest with you, in my case, I felt like I had so much potential when I was younger. Like, I don't want to say I could have, should have, would have, right? I hate doing that. But in high school, I had the mindset of me not going to college. I might not go to college. Nothing that I want or don't want. That was my quote in my senior yearbook, was nothing I want or don't want has anything to do with what happens. And that's a mindset that's not good to have. You know what I'm saying? And that was embedded not by my teachers, not by, it was more of, like, my parents. Like, I was, raised to, I couldn't cut my hair, because what if your husband likes long hair? It's like a lot. There's a lot that, girls go through, that parents, they want the best for you. To my parents at that time, a successful life was a woman who was married, and to them that was, like, the ideal, that's what they, think is successful. So it's not like, anything shame to what they thought, or what with other families as well. But it's just more of, like, it's a different time. People, things happen, it's not only, that's not the end all be all. That's not the prize. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was probably a part of it, but I could have stepped up too and been vocal, but I was a very,
Accepting.
striving for, I was a people pleaser. I wanted to please my parents. And that's even going to those careers. You want to please your parents. So I really think a strong part of it is parents, but as teachers and administration and counselors, we do have to show the students at a young age what is out there, what is successful. Give them opportunities to be immersed into it, not just like, oh, there's this career and this career, and just bring them in for a day and that's it. And that's all we do for the whole year. They need to be learning about careers and also learning about certification programs as well at a young age.
Yeah.
So that's when they can see where their skills fall. And we shouldn't be focused just on academic. It should be also durable skills that they could use for the future.
I was going to just say this quickly about the pressure part and the parents part is, I feel like, obviously you want to respect your parents.
Absolutely.
But like Zahra was saying, you need to, at some point you need to say, like, this is what I want to do, because you don't want to be that person. I know a lot of friends who went to school and did it for a couple years and decided to switch out. You just don't want to waste that time and want to get straight into it and get straight to the work.
And I want to, like, continue. So in my situation, unfortunately, that's all my parents knew. But once, they saw my situation and they seen, like, that's like what happened, they forced my second sister to go to college. You know what I'm saying? So it's a process. It's all they know. And sometimes all we have to do is show them, like, explain to them. I could have took the time. I could have fought, and said, hey, please, like, this is what I want to do. And this, I could have, but I was in that situation. I was the older sister. It's like the older sister kind of thing.
And honestly, to piggy off of what you were saying, it's so interesting to hear your background, because my background was totally different. Like, I had my mom who really pressured me and my sister to get an education and to kind of go that route. And then every now and then, like, I would joke, like, oh, well, what if I just want to get married and be a stay-at-home wife, you know? And I would get so much, like, pushback about it. And she would never want that for me. She's like, no, I want you to have an education. I want you to have this. And from her standpoint, you know, like, she immigrated here when in, like, early 2000s. Like, her and my dad had no family. They had to learn English on their own. They literally came to, like, they came like through asylum over here, was dropped in Idaho out of nowhere.
Wow.
And learned Idaho. Yeah. They lived in Idaho for a little bit. We moved to Pennsylvania. I was born there. And then we moved to Michigan. We kept kind of moving from those states to be around more Arab at the end of the day. We wanted to be around like our people of our own kind at the end of the day, but they had to do it on their own. So I understand from her perspective that it was a security aspect. And she was also cognizant of the fact that 2 incomes is better than 1.
Absolutely.
And I think, you know, like I feel like nowadays, especially with like the younger generation, like in my generation who either was born here or came here really early, we understand, like, you know, our auto parents, like, they'll just say things, like, kind of goes in one ear out the other. And I feel like, going back to your actual question about like the pressure, like, for me specifically, I felt like the main pressure source was, you know, not only the parents, but also like my peers. I thought it was mainly peers, like in school. Like, if I wasn't hearing doctor, lawyer, engineer from my parents, I was hearing it from someone in school, from their parents telling them.
Yeah.
And it ended up being like almost like a status thing. Like, oh, did you get, like, especially in high school, like, did you get accepted to college? Did you get a full ride? What career are you going into? All this stuff. It's funny because my fiance's cousin, who's 16, he was actually just telling me the other day how, like, in school, like, everyone wants to be a lawyer. And he would actually be a great lawyer. And I was kind of telling him that. I was like, you would be a great lawyer. Like, you know how to talk. And when he talks, it's kind of like, you know, like like paragraph format. Like,
oh God.
Yeah, like when he talks, it's like he'll say a statement and then he'll say like the evidence and the support, and then he ties it all in. So I'm like, you'd be a great lawyer. And he's like, everyone wants to be a lawyer. I don't want to be a lawyer. And it's just so interesting because I do think it really comes from peers. And I think that, you know, as you're growing up, like, the 2 most important people in your life are your friends and your parents, especially when you're growing up. And at least from my end, it was my parents too. And I will say, I will give them grace because, again, like, they were talking from a security point of view. Like, they wanted financial security. They want to make sure that, you know, their children don't suffer the way they suffered. And they did when our parents, they don't have to sacrifice anything. But I do think, like, when it came to my peers, it ended up being more of like a status thing. Like, oh, look, I went to U of M. I'm a lawyer now. I'm a doctor now. And it was like, well, I want to be as good as you. Like, wow, you're doing so good with your life. And for a while, it took me a minute to be like, okay, I need to get out of like the social media mindset. You know how, like, if you go on social media, you're like, this person's life is amazing and all this stuff. No one's life is amazing. That's just the reality of the truth. When, you know, Allah put us on this earth to have hardship. Yeah. That's the reality. We are all supposed to struggle, and with struggle comes growth. And that is the point. So it took me a minute to be like, okay, I need to like remove myself from what I perceive is everyone's life and what I think everyone's life is so perfect. Because yes, this doctor might on social media have a perfect life, or this lawyer might have a perfect life, or this engineer, but they could be struggling with stuff that I'm not struggling with. And because, you know, Allah doesn't give you more than you can handle. So it was that kind of mindset that made me realize that I can do what I want to do and still do great. And I don't need to compare myself with anyone else. And that's really where the pressure comes. It's comparing yourself to your peers.
And parents comparing you to your peers as well.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I do want to like say something. You know, I went to Frontier, which I was the first actual graduating class at that school at the point. So it was new. There were 16 people in my class. So I didn't have that really big pressure.
But
and I was valedictorian.
So
that pressure wasn't there. But a lot of us at that
give
time,
her a round of
too.
applause, man.
It was 60 people, man. That ain't serious.
That's still an accomplishment.
Let me tell you something.
Don't tell people that. Just say you're valedictorian.
Let me tell you something. A lot of the girls at that time too were graduating, getting married. So it was like the common thing in the Yemeni community. So unfortunately, that wasn't like something that. Well, fortunately, I guess I didn't have that pressure from my peers. But it was, for me, it was mostly. But I can see, especially, I can see my son going to Dearborn High right now. It's a lot of competition, a lot of comparison, a lot of, I'm going to this school, I have this scholarship, I have that. But I'm happy that the kids are actually striving to be like, great. But I just hope that it's not pressure from, people, and that is just what they want.
And Zahra and I were just talking about this before the show started, and that is, what is success to you though? Like, I think that's another important thing. Like, people have to ask themselves, going back to what you're saying about social media, like you really have to do your best to stay away from those kind of that mindset of just seeing what other people are doing and then comparing your life to their life. And this is very common for everybody. I mean, heck, till this day, I still do it every now and then. You'd be like, damn, man, am I doing this right? Like, am I doing this life thing right? You have to ask yourself, what is success to you? Maybe there are people out there who just want to stay at home, the women out there that want to stay at home and take care of the kids, even though they have a degree and that maybe can earn them over 100, 150, 100, 200K, So you just really have to ask yourself, what is success to you? And I think once you answer that question, then you start taking the necessary steps to achieve the goals that you have for yourself to have a successful life. So you mentioned it quickly about certifications and getting those as well. I mean, we're here talking about school, but there are other avenues as well to be successful, right? So a 4-year doctor's degree can come with over 200K plus debt. A licensed electrician can be earning 80 plus K, 100 plus K within no debt in about 2 to 3 years. Why aren't we having these conversations more in the classrooms, in the schools? Because let's be honest, college is not for everyone. So why are we not having these conversations more?
I think it comes back to like what is considered like a respectable career or not, like it's like, in our parents' generations, like they're like, oh wow, my son's a doctor, my son's a lawyer. Other people are going to be like, wow, my son's an electrician. Oh, okay. And I think it's because I don't think people realize like that is still hard work. Like, have you guys ever had a power outage?
Yeah.
I never know how to fix that.
Yeah. And they make good money now.
They make
great money.
Yeah,
I'm not fixing the toilet. Like,
Yeah,
if something
no,
happens-
literally. I remember it's actually funny. I'll just say a really quick story. At the family dock in Hamtramck, at one point, our power outage went off. And mind you, this is an all-female clinic with mainly female staff there. And we really like that because it's a great place for the community, for women to be in a safe place at the end of the day. But it's only women here and our power is out. Our internet's not working. None of us know how to do this. And I'm just going to give a little quick shout out to FRJ. I know they're not a sponsor, but we really do love them. They're right across the street from us. They're a pharmacy.
Great people.
And I called them and I was like, hey guys, and it's so funny because across the street, it's only men that work there.
Yeah.
And I called them, I'm like, hey guys, like we need like a guy's touch right now. Like we need someone to figure this out. And it's not, and going back to the question, it is, they were able to fix it. I want to point out.
Yeah.
And he just turned it off and turned it back on. I was like, I did the same exact thing, but whatever.
Didn't work, but
It didn't work when I did it, but apparently when he did it, it worked. But yeah, going back to going back to the question, it is a hard field. It is, and it does deserve the respect. And I just feel like as a society, we don't give it the respect. We don't realize that unless you're making like upwards of, 200K a year, like it's not a good field. The same thing when it comes to nursing, right? Like it's like everyone's like, oh, well, nursing's this, nursing's that. You're just taking orders. You're not. Nursing is a lot of critical thinking. Absolutely. Like when a doctor is giving a prescription, we are like the last line. We're the ones making sure, is this a good prescription for the patient? Is this something that can harm the patient? We're doing that double checking, and a lot of times, like we catch mistakes. We also are the first to we're also the first to see if anything bad is going on, and we can report it and we can assess and we can kind of start the process to help a patient feel better. So it is a lot of hard work, and I just feel like people don't necessarily realize what the job entails, whether it's a nurse, an electrician, or a plumber, and they don't realize what it entails. And because we're not making as much, it's an easy job. Anyone can do it. It's not a big deal. When it's like, no, every job matters and every job has a purpose. I want to emphasize this as we go along in the conversation, that I don't think there's anything wrong with being a doctor, lawyer, engineer. I don't think there's anything wrong. I give a lot of props to anyone who that is their career. But at the same exact time, there's nothing wrong being an electrician, a lawyer, a plumber, or a nurse. We need all of those jobs in order for a society to thrive.
Yeah.
And And it's like we only emphasize the jobs that pay really good money. And it's like, no, like all these jobs matter. Like imagine if we didn't have like people who in sanitation to pick up our garbage. Like imagine if we didn't have that. Like that is an important job in our society. And but if you're like, oh well, I'm in sanitation, some people might look at you different. It's like, why? Are you gonna do the job? Are you gonna do if there was no one to do? Are you gonna be the person that picks up all the trash and throws it out?
Yeah.
No, we have a career for that. People like the career and they do good work. It's not anything to look down upon.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I really want to add on to that in terms of just the idea of like, why are we not having these conversations more with these service jobs that people offer?
Absolutely. I know in schools, for the longest, we were always like, even the way we speak about getting the kids ready, we say college ready. You know, it's always college ready, college ready. But I'm telling you, there's a huge shift because AI is taking over a lot of jobs, and they're realizing that these skill focused jobs like being a plumber, electrician, all of these jobs, they're not going to be taken away because it needs physical labor, right? So now there is a push to start bringing that into the schools, because you remember how before they used to have like carpenter and all
Auto
those
shop,
yeah. So there is a push to bring those back. So I don't know. I mean, that's from the conference, just sitting in a bunch of the panel discussions. They're saying that durable skills are coming back because our students are, they don't even know how to look each other in the eyes and give a firm handshake and introduce themselves anymore. It's always, behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So
great time to take a quick break. Great conversation so far. So let's give a shout out to Chillbox Yusuf, our good friends over there at Chillbox, and then we'll keep it rolling. So shout out to Chillbox. Chillbox Convenience Stores, a proud family-owned business, has established a strong presence throughout Southeast Michigan. Chillbox branded gas partners are Valero, Shell, BP, Amoco, and Sunoco gas stations. Their mission is simple: to deliver fast, friendly, and convenient service to their valued customers. With a wide range of snacks, refreshing beverages, and food options, all offered at competitive prices, they aim to satisfy every craving with a smile. With 40 locations and more coming soon, all across Southeast Michigan, their commitment extends beyond providing convenience. They strive to be a reliable and trustworthy resource for their local communities. So be sure to go chill at Chillbox. Okay, we're back. And so my next question to you ladies are we confusing prestige with success? What's the real cost of chasing a title over a fulfilling career? And let me just say this before you guys maybe share your answers is when I read this question, I see that, we are going to sit here and we're going to talk about careers. We're going to talk about career paths and stuff like that. But I think one thing that we need to mention here is family. I feel like, my life is a living proof. I was an educator and now I work for city government, and, I love giving back to the community, but mostly because it allows me to still have time for my daughters and my wife and my kids and my family, my brothers, my sisters. And that is a big point of what I do. I've had opportunities to maybe do other things, but I knew that I was not going to have time to do other things that I love doing. So therefore, I was not about to hate my career just because it's bringing in a little bit more money, but I'm also sacrificing the things that I love the most. So with that said, I think people need to realize, like, what is, again, going back to what is success to you, what's most important to you. To me, it's being a father. It's being there for my family. That's what makes me happy. I think people underestimate that. Women, I'm sure, being a mother, being, there for your kids. So with that said, I'm going off of that. Are we confusing prestige with success? Like, what's the real cost of, like, when you chase a title or money over a fulfilling career?
Yeah, sometimes you could lose your freedom, like you said, with that time with the family. You make so many sacrifices and you probably are stuck. You feel stuck, Listen, if somebody loves what they're doing and is working hard and whatever, more power to them. But you don't want to be stuck in a career or a position and you hate your everyday, waking up every day, you hate it. And just because you make money, no one wants to be in that situation. But people don't realize sometimes these careers that have prestige come with a lot of debt, and that's very stressful when it comes to a family and, in life in general. No one wants to be in debt. And, and as Muslims, we don't, deal with interest like that. So, you kind of basically put it into perfect perspective. When you pick a career when you're going into your career, you want to pick a career that you can have great balance, where you can actually do everything together simultaneously, where you're comfortable, you're happy, but you're still making enough money to make your family comfortable.
Yeah, I totally agree with that statement. I think for me, when I was like considering career options and what I like, obviously I determined based off what my interest was, but then to piggy off of like what my interest was, what works best for my main purpose in life. I'm a firm believer that my main purpose in this dunya was to get married, complete half of my deen, and have kids and pass on Islam. Like that is my purpose. That is my passion at the end of the day. And the income is just because I can't live life without some money in my pockets, So I always wanted that concept. And that was like a conversation I had with my mom when I told her I didn't want to go the doctor route. And it was because doctors, they go through residency. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. And that would have been all of my 20s. And I didn't want to waste my 20s like that personally. I wanted to get married young. I wanted to have kids young. And I wanted to kind of go about that route. And anything else is just an addition. And it's...
You sure you're not Yemeni, by the way?
No, I'm not. Yeah, and like I said, earlier, I got a lot of pushback from my mom and my parents about it. And honestly, not so much my dad. My mom gave me a lot of pushback. And we'll say when they were overseas in Iraq, like they had an education. So my mom did come from an educational background, but in America, she didn't because, she came in 2000. I don't even know how old she was, honestly, at that point. But it was a conversation that I had to have with her. And I was like, I just want to have kids and I want to be married. I want to have a successful family, like my own family. And, everything else is just addition because I always think of the mindset of, we're on the day of judgment. Like, I want to be able to look God and I want to be able, I guess that's not a good way to say it, but I want to be able on the day of judgment to answer God and be like, Allah, like I did my duties. I was a good person. I prayed. I completed half of my deen and I had children. I feel like God's not going to ask me, why weren't you a doctor?
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Like I don't think I'm going to get asked that. And it's not to say like you can't be a doctor, especially as a woman. You can't be a doctor. You can't do this. But that wasn't my priority. And I see that a lot within my generation of women just like striving for a career. And, I'm not to judge. It's not for me to judge at the end of the day. That's just not me at the same exact time. Like I was really happy that I was able to find someone and I'm excited to get married soon, inshallah, and have my wedding and, start the process, start the family. Because that to me is the most important part. And going back to your question of, I'm sorry, wait, what was the question again?
Just basically, are we confusing prestige with success?
Yeah, and I think going back
success to you.
Yeah, and success to me from like a woman's standpoint, an Islamic standpoint, personally, is being a mother and having children and raising them like with akhlaq, with like respect, with deen. So when people it doesn't matter to me if my child in the future, inshallah, is not a doctor or lawyer. I would rather hear, wow, your son, your daughter is a great person. They are so kind. They help people. They do this. That to me sounds better. And I always like bring that up to my mom and I'm like, Mama, like, I'm a good person at the end of the day. So what if I don't have DO or MD behind my name? I'm a good person. And I feel like that's all that matters. I feel like that is all that matters. And that's all I want. And it's funny because I remember growing up, like going in school and everything, like I think nowadays it is a little different, but when I was in high school, at least, like there was so much hate on like being a homemaker.
Oh yeah.
There was so much hate on being a homemaker. I will say nowadays it's kind of like, oh, I would love to be a homemaker. I think women are like, I don't want to work anymore. They want the soft life. Yeah. And
all those rap songs that got us in our heads.
Yeah. And
which one, Abir?
I-N-D.
There you go, Abir.
And the Destiny's Child one. Yes. They messed us up.
They did. It was like Western values and feministic values. And it's like, I can maybe agree, like depending on like the ones you pick out. Maybe
I'll say something after all this because I feel like,
maybe I'll agree with certain things. I think I'm just a little bit more conservative, and alhamdulillah, like my fiance, he's in the same boat as I am. He's always like, if we make enough money and, we're not trying to be a multimillionaire having like this really nice house and all this stuff. We're just trying to be stable. We're trying to be able to give our children in the future, inshallah, like our future children, the best life possible. But like, to me, like, I don't care if like it's winter break and they don't get to go to like Florida for winter break. That doesn't faze me. I didn't go to Florida for winter break and I'm fine. Like, so it's like, I feel like it goes back to like almost like materialistic things in in society right now of like, well, I want this, I want this, I want that. And it's like, to me, that stuff doesn't matter. I want a nice house. I want my Honda Civic and I want to just drive and have a good life and be happy with my family and have like good deen and be happy. So going back, it's like, I do think at one point, like, especially when I was growing up, like there was such a hate on homemakers. And I'm like, but why? Like, they're living the best life, man. Like, I feel like I'm only working and I'm only striving for an education for the sole purpose of what if I need to? Like, this is really just a survival aspect. Yes, I am passionate, but it is survival. If it was up to me, I would, cook food. I'd make my own jam. I really want to make my own jam, inshallah, in the future.
And sourdough?
Sourdough. Like, that's hard work. I want to learn how to do that. Like, that's my goal in life. And everything else is additional. Yeah, there's great things that come about it, but success to me is family and values. And it's like, sometimes, and going back to what you were saying, like, sometimes like that's more than enough to not go this path in life and not go that path in life. And I don't think anyone should be upset about it or be like, well, like, you're not living up to your fullest potential. And that's kind of like, well, what my mom is saying, you're not living up to your fullest potential. I was like, but my potential is to be a mom. Like, that's my goal in life, inshallah. I want to be a mother. I want to have children.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say? I bet you said you had.
There's so much to unpack here, and I know we were talking about it earlier before the show. Inshallah, your future marriage is blissful and wonderful, and all of your ideas of success comes true, inshallah. And it does take two. It takes two, definitely. But sometimes, unfortunately, in life, like, that does not always work because, one person or two or both, are just not doing their part in that relationship. So it gets difficult. So I do believe, like, women, have something for yourself, but at the same time, if, the husband in the family is taking care of you, and in the beginning, you guys can both help out, especially if you're trying to build your life together. But once you are in a comfortable state where, you're not in debt, you can give back, in a way where you're comfortable, you're raising your kids the right way, your focus is your kids, that's the life, you know what I'm saying, where then the wife can just probably just stay home and whatever and help and have that dynamic. But it doesn't always work that way, and then sometimes we do have to work, and we can't judge both. We can't judge the ones that decide to stay home and raise the family because they have a supportive husband. Like, that's the ideal situation, but we can't also judge the ones that have to work, or you don't know the situation. Maybe their husband is greedy and doesn't give them and is just toxic, and they have there's a lot to unpack here. But I feel like if both parties do their part, their religious duty, right, we would all live a successful life that pleases Allah at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes under that.
So, in your opinions, what are some career paths that are being slept on?
So I actually looked up a couple that are successful careers that people don't look in like that. So electrician, HVAC, plumbing, tech certifications, IT support, cybersecurity, real estate, property management, logistics, digital careers like content creation, podcasts, social media, service-based businesses like all the beauty, like barbershops, beauty, all of that. They're up there, and any entrepreneurship that is a service that or something they could sell that's
worth buying.
Yeah.
We could talk about entrepreneurship later on, but those are some great ones. I mean, you want to touch on any of those specifically that she mentioned? Or
yeah,
maybe
I have a couple more to add on. Like, my fiance, he's in construction management. That's a great career. I had no idea what construction management was before he chose that career. Esthetician, I feel like they make great money. They live great lives. Like, hairstylists, makeup artists, those are great careers.
Korean scalp massages that are growing nowadays. It's like beautiful.
Great careers. I want to emphasize being a homemaker. I think that is a career in itself, and you do get rewarded maybe not actually physically money, but in other ways you get rewarded. So I do want to include that in the mix.
You know what's popping right now? The Pilates, the different places that are in being an instructor. Of studio.
Going to youth teachers, that is an honorable career. I give you so much credit because for one of my clinicals, I was in a preschool, and this was a nursing school. We were in a preschool observing like child behaviors. And I was there for 4 hours, and I had to take a nap. I've never felt more tired in my life after 4 hours in a preschool. That was insane to me.
Preschool and kindergarten teachers, they're heaven sent.
They
I can never do
are.
that.
I could not. Daycare services, honestly, like that's a great business, great career, and it really does help the community. Even as simple as like motivational speakers, like our Islamic speakers, the sheikhs, the imams that work in the community. That is a great aspect of the community that we need. Yeah, it's the backbone of it. Honestly,
restaurant owners. Food supply.
Yeah, let's talk about entrepreneurship. So, like, do you guys think that starting a business should be on the same conversation as a career path? Like, do you think parents should stress about starting a business same way they stress their kids, or put that pressure on their kids about following a career? Because everybody kind of almost wants to be their own boss. More than likely, you don't talk to somebody that says, "I cannot wait to work for somebody for the rest of my life." Like. Everybody has a dream, but like, I want to own my own business. Mostly a lot of people, especially guys that, you talk to them, they want to open up a business. And you have that face like, you don't know. So what do you think about that?
So it's funny because when I first met my fiance, he was actually in school for business. And I remember, and he always we joke about it nowadays, but when he told me, he's like, yeah, I'm in school for business. I was like, why are you in school for that? Go open up a business. And we had that conversation. I'm kind of iffy when it comes to business. I'll say, I think like when you're fresh out of high school and you don't either have someone in your life, whether it's like a mentor, a family member who can kind of guide you in the process, I don't really think it's a good option for an 18-year-old fresh out of high school who has no clue about business to go into business, because I don't think that degree makes any sense. Like, if you really want business, go work somewhere, find a good boss, and then he can help mold you. I think in that kind of route, you do need a mentor. You do need someone to guide you, whether it's like a family member, again, or a boss. I don't have any hate towards businesses. Like, the amount of coffee shops and restaurants in Dearborn's insane. They're all doing great, mashallah. Yeah. So I don't think there's any hate towards businesses, but I do think I do think a conversation, especially in school, needs to have about like the amount of work it makes. Like, because when you own a business, like, you're working nonstop. And I see this firsthand, when Dr. Nasrallah and Shireen, they wanted to open up the family doc in Hamtramck. Like, Shireen brought me on. I knew her from like prior to the family doc ever being a thing in Hamtramck. It took a lot of time and effort. And I see till now, like Dr. Nasrallah and Shireen, every single day they are working. Even though they might not be physically in the office, they are always working. They're always making sure patient satisfaction is a thing. Their employees are taken care of. So it's a never-ending process, because it's your business. It's your income at the end of the day. And not to mention, if you're passionate about it, it's your baby. You always want to take care of it. Same thing with like restaurants. Like, restaurant owners, they always want to put into it. I do personally think, I always recommend for like the younger generation who think about they want to go into business, I wouldn't necessarily go to HFC and major in business. Go work somewhere, build that experience up, and find out if that's something you want to do. Like, my fiance, he wanted to open up a restaurant. He started working in a restaurant, and mind you, this was like when he was like still in high school and everything. He's like, I really want to do business. He was telling me about this, and he worked in a restaurant. He's like, I don't want to do this. So I do think, like, going back to our initial conversation a while back ago about exposure is really important. I also feel like you should always have, I feel like business should be entrepreneurship should be a plan B. I think you should have something more set in stone, especially, this is honestly more so for the brothers than for the sisters. I feel like brothers in our community should understand that, you're going to be, you should want to strive to be a husband and a father. And that is a financial burden. A wife is a financial burden. That's just the reality of truth. That expectation and responsibility is your role in Islam. And if you're gonna and I think entrepreneurship can be a gamble. So I always say, like, you should that should always be a plan B. Like, I don't think it's a bad idea when people have worked in a great field. Like, I know this one barber, he was working as a barber for I don't know him personally, but like off social media, he was working as a barber for a very long time, like back when I was in high school, when he was in high school, that sort of thing. And he opened up a barber shop, and it's like he had the clientele, he had that experience. He didn't just like wake up one morning and say, I want to be a barber and I'm going to open up my own barber shop. He built to it. So I think when it comes to entrepreneurship, it takes a long time, and it is worth it in the end, but you do need to build up that rapport prior to, and you should always still have the financial means to make a gamble like that, because again, like you're the financial responsibility. Like if you have a wife, if you have children, like you're the provider. So
Yeah. No, I
What are your
think
thoughts on
so. In school for business, there's so many different aspects. There's like the marketing, the finance, the whatever, and they can go into even accounting through all that. So there's I don't like what depending on the field that they're going into. I understand what you're trying to say. So during COVID, I actually started like a side business. It was a decor business. You know, it made a lot of money, but I was working all day, every day, answering DMs, and then I couldn't say no, and then I was giving too many deals and stuff like that because I'm too nice, and so there is a lot that comes with it. But I would have never let go of my 9 to 5 or 3:30 job. You know what I'm saying? Because that's stability. I know I'm gonna get that paycheck every single 2 weeks, right? But with the business, you don't know if you're gonna get bookings, and so. As being the sole provider of my household, I didn't want to take that gamble, right? So I completely understand what you were saying. But like once you are comfortable and you maybe you're retired or whatever, and you want to, or like you said, a lot of the times when they do start a business, it's because they were working with somebody. And they learned the trade and they really loved it. And they're like, okay, I'm going to start my own. A lot of the gas station owners used to work at a gas station. They learned how the ins and outs of it, and they open up their own. A lot of just like the fruit markets, just like the coffee shops. Like eventually you do have a mentor that helps you, but no one just says it's hard. You wake up one day and there is that chance of failure because you never actually, went through it. Right. So I completely understand what you're trying to say. But a lot of times I do want to shout out to a lot of the, Muslim girls out there that are like, opening their or starting their own, small businesses, and, they're doing great. They're doing phenomenal. But like, I'm pretty sure they're not the sole, usually you won't, it's a gamble. Maybe some are, I don't want to make the judgment, but it's a lot easier to open up a small business when you know that somebody else is paying your bills, right? You know what I'm saying?
Or when you have something else already.
That's paying your bills.
Yeah. So this is just me sharing this. Like I feel like in every career, I feel like you should have a degree in it. But I think that one career that you don't need a degree is being a business owner. I think if you get the proper experience, like you both were mentioning, I think you could be a successful business owner as long as you have that right mentor and you're watching
right
firsthand. Yeah. I think that you can definitely,
advisor.
yeah, you can definitely be a successful business owner. Believe it or not, we're moving to the last third of the show. We're going to go ahead and give a shout out to our final sponsor of today. And by the time this show comes out, their official grand opening, even though we've already tried their delicious food at Holy Bowly, their official grand opening will already have taken place. So shout out to Holy Bowly. Congratulations on officially, once you have your grand opening, you're officially official. So shout out to Holy Bowly, Yusuf, and everybody, and we'll keep it rolling. Shout out to Holy Bowly. Holy moly, you have to try out Holy Bowly. Holy Bowly is your go-to destination for vibrant bowls and delicious sandwiches. Everything they serve is 100% fresh, and they have halal options as well. Their mouth-watering bowls are always packed to the top, so you know you're getting the most bang for your buck. They currently have 2 locations in Detroit, and you can check out all their food on their website at www.myholybowly.com. All right, we are officially back, and believe it or not, like I said, we're close to closing out. So what would you tell the 17-year-old who feels like a failure because they don't want to be a doctor? What advice or what words, what would you tell them? What wisdom would you share with them? Starting off with you, Zahra.
Yeah. You're going to be the only person entering your grave. That's the reality of the truth. No one's going with you to grave. So you better make peace in your own mind, because peace in your own mind is the most important thing in the world. Alhamdulillah, I love my family. I love my fiance. I love my friends. I love like everyone around me. But if I didn't have peace in my mind about what I wanted to do, I don't think I could be a good person to be around in reality. So I think like prioritizing your own personal peace is the most important thing, and figuring out what you want to do. Obviously, again, it's always with reason. I think everything should always go back to Allah. I think the concept of deen over dunya is the most important thing, because this dunya is temporary. It's nothing but a beautiful lie, and we are going to meet our maker one day, inshallah. And we should be able to be proud of who we are when we do meet the maker. And I think that if you kind of have that mindset moving forward, everything is going to be possible. And Allah brings barakah at the end of the day. Everything does happen for a reason. So even if it's that 117-year-old who didn't get into the college that they wanted to, or didn't get into the program that they wanted to, whether you're 17 or like you're 20, or didn't get accepted to med school, or didn't this or didn't that, everything does happen for a reason. So that's the main thing. And trusting Allah at the end of the day, and understanding that you should be pleased with yourself and only yourself at the end of the day, even if other people are not pleased with you, you know? So my mom wasn't happy that I wanted to go into nursing, like I had mentioned before, but I was happy with it. I knew that that was something I wanted to do. And that mindset gave me the motivation to push back on my mom and be like, Mama, this is what I want to do. And, you know, over time, she did accept it, you know? And again, like parents, friends, peers, teachers, they do want the best for you. So I think the mindset of not to be so defensive and to also hear other people's opinion is really important, and using what you gather from everyone to come to your own decision and come to terms with what you want in your life is most important. You know, I don't want to say like, oh, you know, like, don't listen to anyone, focus on what you want. That's a selfish mindset. And I don't think Muslims are meant to be selfish. That's not how Islam wants it. But also to do what you want to do. So there is a really fine line. And I also, at the same exact time, I do think with age, you start to realize this. Like when I was 17, I didn't realize that as much. I had mentioned, like, I would go on social media and I'd see this person's life and that person's life and I'd compare myself. So it is normal to feel this way. But just remember that when you feel bad about yourself, and when you feel bad about a situation, that's when growth begins. You know, that is just a trial in your life that you are meant to kind of overcome, exactly. And then you grow as a person. So have sabr, be patient. You're a good person. Focus on what really matters in this dunya. And, you know, it's taking care of everyone around you. Like, if I honestly feel like even if I was a doctor, if my mom did not like me, she was upset with who I am as a person, no amount of money in the world, no amount of success, even if I was like, you know, Jumana K. with billboards all over, that would never matter as much to me as if for my mom's approval. Like, I want her to love me and also be proud of who I am as a person. And it kind of goes back to that, like, people around you should love you, and you should also love yourself. And if it's something you really believe in, really come to terms with that, and, you know, push back when you need to, like, defend yourself. And take constructive criticism too. Like if someone's like, hey, like,
huge these days, they don't want it.
Yeah, they don't want to. And it's like, if someone tells you, hey, like, you know, you don't have the personality for this career, you don't have the work ethic for this career. If that was my mom and I told my mom I wanted to be a doctor and she told me you don't have the work ethic for this career, part of me, I feel like if she had ever told me that, she never did, but if she had ever told me that, I'd been like, oh, like, blah, 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 that. But, and I maybe someone could have taken like offense to it. But in reality, people only say things to you because they want the best from you. So understand, like,
especially the people that are
they're in your circle.
They're in your circle, exactly. So constructive criticism is really important.
Or if you need to work on this and work on that, and that's okay. No one's trying to attack you.
Yeah, and working towards something. Like, you'll never get anywhere in life without working towards it. You know, whether it's a career, whether it's a relationship with your significant other, whether it's a relationship with your family, everything that matters in this dunya takes work. And I do think the younger generation, they don't want to work as hard. So coming to terms with working hard.
Not the easy way out.
Yeah, they want the fast money, the easy way. And it's like, no, anything that's really worth it will take time. So have sabr, and will take hard work. And, you know, we're all able. We are able. Allah made us able to do it. We all have mindsets. We all have thoughts. So we can do it. It's just a matter of, you know, not being lazy about it. Yeah. That's the reality.
Abby, what are your thoughts? Like, what would you tell a 17-year-old, aka your son, who maybe doesn't feel failure because they don't want to be a doctor, but what is some advice you would tell somebody who, you know, has this mindset of what is a successful person, and their mindset doesn't match that mindset?
I would say take the time to get to know yourself. Take the time to understand what you're good at. Try different things. This is the time to make mistakes. This is the time where you discover, what you're good at, what you're not good at. But also, you need to stay focused and get the job done, whatever aspect that you want. I always tell all my students and my son, you need a skill that you're really good at, and you need a degree. I don't know, I'm that mom. Okay, I don't care what degree, but I feel like you need a skill and you need a degree. And because we never know what the future holds with AI, and we'll soon have flying cars, so we just don't know what's gonna come about from this from life. But as long as every choice that you make, you keep the pleasure of Allah as your intention and as your guide, honestly, you cannot go wrong. Just have that tawakkul, make that dua. Anything is possible with dua, right? We all have our qadr written, but with dua, things could definitely change. Just make sure that you're, at the end of the day, like, you are going to have to answer to Allah, and that you're pleased with yourself and with the time that you spent, because you will be judged on that as well.
So two things. Number one, is it breaking news that we're gonna have flying cars? Is this?
I don't know.
Okay.
People are saying it, man.
All
I
right.
don't think we will.
I'm
I
telling you.
think we
They already
will.
have it in Dubai. Dubai is soon to have.
I don't know, guys.
I mean, I don't know either, but I mean, who knows? I didn't
crazy.
think all this stuff would be possible. And
Did
second
you
thing,
think that we'd be having FaceTime? I didn't think that. I mean, you're young.
I mean,
Well,
shout out to the local legend Jamana, by the way. I see you doing a
Yes.
shout out, Jamana.
Listen,
I don't know
I remember
how-
pagers, and I thought those was,
Oh my God,
Pagers?
how
Back in
old
the
are
day.
you?
well, 36.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
mashallah, you
yeah.
look so young.
You're so sweet. Thank you.
All right. So with that said,
It's because I'm not married. No, I'm just, I
Marriage ages you.
tell people that all the time.
we talked about success, but maybe we didn't really define it. Define success, or even for the next generation. I mean, I know it's what you call it, but what does success actually look like, and who gets to define that for the next generation? I don't care who. I mean, whoever wants to start. with it.
I think I have a very short kind
Okay.
of response to it. I think Allah defines what success is.
Absolutely. I was gonna say the
In-
same thing.
And it's not to say, like, I think, like, you guys do the podcast and you guys are doing it with the barakah of, like, Allah and Islam with it. So it's like that in itself is successful, in my opinion. When you are giving back to others, I think being selfless is important. And that's kind of what success is. In reality, like, success is giving back. Like, people don't ever feel good unless they give back to others. Like, that's why in Islam we have sadaqah, we have all that aspects, because that's how you start feeling good about yourself, is when you're able to give back to others. Philanthropy, that kind of concept all ties into one. And I don't think there's any right or wrong way to go towards that path. But as long as you know that's the path, that's the goal of the path. It's Allah and giving back to the community, giving back to family and spreading Islam. Like, I think that in itself is successful.
Yeah, I love that. Give that a round of applause, man. That's clip worthy right there. You know what I'm saying? For sure. Abid, what do you think?
Success is Jannah. At the end of the day, whatever route that you take towards Jannah, right? Because there's some, you could go to Jannah. Anything could be a reason to Jannah. But I think my biggest lesson that I've learned in life in general is that if you have the intention of whatever you do, like I said, coming in here today, I have the intention to come on to help the, future for the sake of Allah, to help. If you put that intention in, this whole podcast, I'm getting good deeds for it, right? So living a life that's God conscious, that's successful. In whatever aspect that you do, whether you make $1 million or you make, 50,000, as long as you lived an honest life where you didn't hurt anybody, we all make mistakes. That's why Toba is there,
Yeah.
right? Just being God conscious, to me, that's a successful life, regardless of what you do and what you choose. Because success to me is going to look different than the person sitting next to me. So whatever makes you happy and keeps you on the right path towards Jannah, towards the goal, pleasing Allah, that's successful. That's being successful.
Go ahead and give Abid a round of applause just because she heard Zahra's answer and she decided to just double down on that.
That's a clip worthy too.
No, for sure. We're going to combine them both. Yusuf,
Yeah.
combine them both right there, all right?
It's good.
All right.
I've been getting
But we have.
dragged a little bit about me wanting clubs. So
I love.
I've actually been happy. I'd rather be on the show than not be on Instagram. Instagram, it's a lot. It's a lot of
Is
pressure.
it?
Not lying.
No, not really. It's not
little
bad.
bit.
First of all, let me just say this, okay? Going back to the success thing, it's what you make it, right? Success is what you make it. I mean, I'm obviously, you both are right, and I think that's the ultimate judgment of success is when you're God conscious and you are here to please Allah. And to maybe level off of that is you should again find out what it is that you love sooner rather than later. If you can find it sooner, I mean, I know you're young. You're gonna go through trials and tribulations. You're gonna go through moments that you're gonna say, "Wish never happened," but you learn from it, inshallah. The thing is, once you find out what it is that you love, nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. Focus on what it is that you love doing, but do something. That's my advice. Is one thing that I do not want to see from the younger generation, or even people who are our age or even older, is when you are not doing anything. We are so privileged to be in these positions today that we are in. We see what's happening in our home countries, and we have to ask ourselves, okay, what are you doing to contribute to that? Maybe you don't have to donate money. Maybe you don't have to post every single day. But I think what you do has a direct impact on what's going on there every day. Are you a good person? Are you a good Muslim? Are you spreading who we are as a people? So just ultimately at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is, define success in your own way. Find out what it is that you love doing and do it every single day if you can. And everything else, don't worry about it, because all that stuff does not matter. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it does not matter. We all are going to be, like you said, in our own graves. We don't go in our graves with anyone else. So ultimately, find it is what you love doing and do it for the rest of your life, and be around people that you love as well. I think that's so important. Memories last forever.
And ask for help. I feel like that was something I had a problem with.
Yes.
Ask for help. Ask
Yeah.
for mentors. People out here will they want to help. They just don't know who to help.
Yeah.
For sure.
So don't be shy.
Well, there we have it. Believe it or not, we're into the final word. So I'll let you prepare your final word, you too, Abir. And the last thing I want to say is how people can follow us one more time. You can follow us on YouTube. You can watch this whole episode on YouTube or listen to it on Apple and Spotify podcasts under Oz Media. We'll have clips, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok under Oz Media. You can find everything on our website, ozmedia313.com. Shout out to Zahra, shout out to Abir for doing an amazing job on this episode. Shout out to our sponsors, Juice Box, Holy Bowly, Wingfellas, Bait and Mocha, Chill Box, Malika Kebab, Hanley International Academy, The Family Doc, GE Preparatory Academy, and Royal Kebab. We appreciate them. With that said, final words, final comments. Zahra, we'll start off with you.
We'll give another shout out to the Family Doc.
We love them.
We love them. And also to piggyback off of yours, Shireen has been a mentor of mine since I was 16. And honestly, I don't know where I'd be in this dunya if she wasn't here. She has helped me get on my path. So yes, mentorship. I always ask her for help all the time. So that is also really important. I think final words is, I spoke so much on this show. I don't even know what else to say, but alhamdulillah, at the end of the day, we are in such a privileged position in this life, especially living in Dearborn too and being around this community. There's no other community like this, in my opinion, where we love our neighbors so much and we care for our neighbors so much. So always that mindset of you're not alone. And I think that's really important. It's like some parts in my life, I thought I was alone, then I realized I'm not. I have my parents, I have my siblings. I have my friends, I have everyone around me. And when you have this, and even more so, you have Allah at the end of the day. So just going about life that way, that's all that matters. And, again, this, we're going to die eventually, guys. That's just the reality of the truth. And we should make the most of it. We should do what we can to have a good life with God in mind and with doing good with others in mind. And it's okay to feel scared. It's okay to be disappointed in yourself. There is no harm in working towards something. And the only harm is not doing anything. That's just the reality of the truth. Always work hard, always do what you have to do and take care of everyone around you. And just, be a good person. Have fun. We're young.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. I bet any final words, final comments?
I want to say that just because you are in your perfect career doesn't mean that you're not going to go through struggles, because regardless, everybody goes through different things. You're always going to get curveballs thrown at you. You're always going to have to make choices, sometimes hard choices. Sometimes you're not going to want to make those choices, but that's just how life is. This dunya is a test. As long it doesn't get easier. So don't stress out now. You just have to really trust in Allah's plan, work towards it. Be a good person, do something, continue to learn regardless. your daily prayers. I would say don't let go of your daily prayers. I really do feel like that helps guide you in life as well, and take it one step at a time. It never gets easier. I know it's kind of sad to say, but in life you're gonna always have to, there's always gonna be something going on. So like you said, just take it easy. Enjoy life as well. Be a good person, and I would just recently I've always like I just want to be ready to die. I want to be ready to die, like no matter what.
I say that too.
It's my friend actually. Before we went to Umrah, like she's younger. Well, not younger than me, but like she's not old yet to have a will. But she's like, no, I just want to have my will. And I'm like I want to get my will written out and done because I just want to be ready to die. Like I want to be able to like if anything happens to me tomorrow, I'm good because like the dunya to us is like a long time, right? But it's literally going to be like a blink of the eye when I don't want to even go into deep, but you know what I'm saying? Basically, be a good person. I think that's all I want to say.
You can't just leave us like that.
I'm just saying.
I understand where she's coming from. I really do because I feel like
don't make this dunya your biggest stress. That's
Yes.
what I want to say. That's what I want to say. Don't make this dunya your biggest stress. There's, think of the afterlife. How about that?
This is just temporary.
Yeah.
So I get you because I always say like I'm just ready to die and not in like
I'm not ready to die. I'm trying to be ready to die.
But it's like I want to be able to when I die, I'm ready to meet my maker, and my goal is like inshallah, I enter heaven. Everyone around me enters heaven, inshallah khair, and it's like that's when life, in my opinion, will actually begin.
Absolutely.
This is just my test. This is my trial period in life, and life it will come after once we meet our maker, and that's kind of my concept. So I get where you're coming from. I feel like people don't want to be like so wrong sometimes.
I didn't want to
be
like so like like scary.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you scared us a little bit. I bet let's be honest. All jokes aside, thank you, ladies, for doing a great job executing this show. This was season 5, episode 31 of Oz Media's Motivate Me 313 podcast, breaking the doctor or failure mindset, career paths that actually win. Shout out to Zahra, shout out to Abir, shout out to Yusuf T in the back. My name is Omar Thabit, and we hope that you enjoy this episode, and we will see you all next time.